I'm Ethan Hara, and today I'd like to discuss with you a story that has inspired me for some time now. A tale of passion and heartache. My dear friend Jordan Brodie is with me today to discuss his upbringing, his quest for fame, and if we can weasel it out of him, his plans for the future. I'd like to begin with an excerpt from a creative writing piece Jordan has shared with me that I'd like to share with anyone watching. Be an adult, get a job. This is the message heard by all. Kill the child, that little gay boy. Children bring fun and not enough action. Get into action, work hard, play hard, or don't work and don't play at all. Become artificial, clock in, clock out.
Thanks for reading that. I
It's
forgot
so
that.
beautiful to me. You've shared with me a couple creative writing pieces, and every time you tell your story, it evolves.
Yeah, I'm always working on becoming the better version of myself and whatever that is for that day or that moment. It's like I'm always evolving and changing and growing. It's incredible. I actually forgot that I wrote that. Like the thing is, you read that to me and I'm like, I wrote that because I forget that sometimes I get so into the creative space, into that moment, and I'm writing, and I have a disconnect between me and my artwork. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but it's just something that I do. Sometimes people hear my music and they're shocked that it came from me, like because my voice, I can be kind of shy and timid sometimes in person or like in a conversation, but then they'll hear my songs or my voice or my music or read my poetry or my writing, and they'll get so like, they'll be like, wow, that personality that is so big. And it's like, it is a part of me, but at the end of the day, I'm just like a normal human being, like everyone else on the planet. The thing about Hollywood and music and fame, I think, is that sometimes we have to create this illusion of like a bigger version of ourselves in order to like get people to believe in us. But at the end of the day, every celebrity, every artist, every performer is just a human like you, me, and everyone else.
Definitely. I think, I shared with you I moved. I'm a little bit outside of Seattle, and it feels like, although, the weather is different, the passion is still the same. So I think that's, that goes for art, worldwide, you know what I mean? Especially for people like us.
Yeah. And I think adding that the layer of the trauma and the difficulties that we faced as like gay men or just as men in general and like feminine men, that like it's caused another layer of like stuff that we have to fight through. And you and I are both on a journey of like becoming ourselves and like our careers. And I know you just moved, and I I love watching your journey, and I'm excited to be here being like interviewed by you today. To be honest with you, I'm just super stoked.
Thank you so much. It means so much to hear that coming from you. So after like watching Queen Paris perform, you told me a story about Kesha talking to you, having a moment with Kesha, and I relate to that as well because I kind of feel as though I have a personal Kesha story. I go unpaid for a lot of my art, my work, and Kesha felt that same pain, and it kind of does leave you bitter, feeling like Moments with Glory is adequate payment for the struggles that artists go through or that storytellers go through. I think our stories kind of get married there when the expectations you've shared with me, forcing gay men to put away their quote unquote childish dreams, their our art and our going out, to stand up more rigidly than straight men are. They aren't held to the same standard, I feel as though.
Yeah.
So to begin, I'd like to just simply give you the floor and let you tell your story.
I would love, I'm going to tell my story, and before I do, I you just touched on some really great things. You just that I don't want to like brush over. You talked about Kesha and Paris, we're fans of the same artists. And I believe the reason why we're attracted to these artists is because they speak from a voice and a perspective that is ours too. Like we see ourselves in them and they are sharing their stories and we relate. So you and I, Anthony, are in alignment on a lot of things for that reason, I believe. And I got emotional when you were just sharing now because about the expectations of family, it's like it's sense the fear of being gay and feminine and being myself and liking heels and liking glitter and liking colorful girl things rather than what normal boys like at a young age. That wasn't encouraged. And in my family, it wasn't explicitly discouraged. Like my parents didn't shun me or anything. It's just society made me feel and know like that wouldn't be acceptable. So I just wouldn't. But I would have some people like my Aunt Julie, who's one of the most fabulous people I knew. She would be like, come on, Jordan, we know you want to sis it up. We know you want to dress up like this. We know you want to be like this. Don't hide around us. And she would like tell me these things, you know? And I feel like some parts of my family are like, put it away. And some parts of my family are like, bring it out, you know? So I feel like this disconnect of like being myself. And it is hard. It is really hard. I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I was born to a father in the military. I grew up playing on F-16 jets and stuff when I was little because I was an only child because, not an only child, but it was an only father. It was my dad raising me and my brother. Because they got divorced when I was 3, my mother and him. And it was really hard. I had a difficult childhood because of that. Like, I think human nature has us wanting to kind of take sides with one of our family members, or I just wanted them to be together again. I was mad that they got divorced, to be honest, because I love them both. So I didn't like any of my mom's boyfriends, and I did not like any of my dad's girlfriends, and I just hated them. I was mean to them and like would fight with them. And my mother is deaf; she's hard of hearing, so that always caused a particular level of shame for me too, because I would see bullies at school make fun of like people in special ed classes, and I would see them make fun of like other people. And so it made me afraid and ashamed of my mother, even though my mom is beautiful. She's an amazing person. She has some mental health problems and obviously some differences because she's deaf, but she still has a heart and a soul, and she's deserving of just as much love and affection as anyone on the planet. And I've always kind of wondered why my dad fell in love with her.
I'd really like for you to tell us like who your family is. Like, what's the business?
My mother divorced my dad when I was 3. And then and then it was just my dad in the military raising me by himself, him and my brother. And then my dad was in this baseball league and he met my stepmother, and my stepmother is her grandpa started Vaughn's grocery stores. So, and then they got married when I was 8, my dad and my stepmom. So I pretty much went, and when it was just my dad and me and my little brothers, it was just us, and we were really poor, and like we lived in this really sketchy part of Albuquerque, New Mexico, where like drug dealers live and the cops don't even come in at night. And anyway, we went from living there to the nicest part of Albuquerque, and I didn't even know what Vaughn's grocery stores was. I was in Albuquerque, you know. And then she is basically my mother. I consider my stepmother my mother because my biological mother is deaf and she has a lot of mental health problems. So I don't really go to her for advice because my biological mother will tell everyone my business. She gossips and she like manipulates me, and like there's just a lot of really bad things that she does, and it's not healthy. So I consider my stepmother is more of a rock for me. And so they got married, and then she put me in therapy when I was 8, my stepmom, and then I started getting help, and then they put me on like medications and stuff, and like I started getting a lot of help because I was just really defiant, and I was just really angry. I was like a hurt kid. I was mean to people in kindergarten. Like I was a bully. Like I was hurt. Like I was a hurt kid, you know? I was mean to people, and I had a hard time. Like when I was little, like I threw a chair at my first grade teacher. I was like a crazy kid. I was like the Manchurian candidate. I just gave everyone hell. Like if I didn't get my way, you were gonna get fucking hell. Like that's literally how I was.
I love that for you.
And lately I've been having to work on letting go of all that, and like letting go of that, like having to get my will, my way or the highway, like because there's a lot of things, especially in the entertainment industry and in life in general, that are out of my control. And I was just trying to fight with everyone because I was angry. I just wanted to fight with everyone. And anyway, so my stepmother got me a lot of help. She got me therapy, and she got me support, and she put me in dance classes. They went to the Brodie Castle because my dad's family is Scottish, and they're from Scotland, and like we're related to the Brodies, who like were like these, I don't even know what they were, but there's a Brodie Castle in Scotland, and I'm related to those people. And so when my dad got married to my stepmother, they went to the Brodie Castle and they bought our family kilt like from the gift shop. And then when they came home, they put my brothers and I into and my sister into Scottish sword dancing classes.
That's so
And
cool.
that's what got me into music and art. Like, and then they put me into piano lessons. I started taking piano lessons when I was 8, and I was in the boys choir when I was 8. And so I got introduced to music and art at a young age. And my brother and sister, they hated the Scottish sword dancing classes, but I loved it because, you know, I was always a little gay boy. I grew up doing ballet. Dance and music was always my first like love escape. Like I loved it. When I was on the stage, like I just felt like so free. I felt like I could be myself. I felt like the bullies weren't close enough to hurt me. Like I just felt like that love from the audience. Like I just loved being on stage, like, and the lights in my face. Like I just love it. Like I love
I
being on.
remember your performance to Neon Lights you did that you shared with me. It was literally iconic. So does your family have any expectation, or do you have any like uh ambition or idea of yourself like ever um like becoming a part of that life, like the business kind of more corporate thing?
More to come from your fave. Jordan Brodie, Girls, Gays, and Days.